Hey guys, Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, I wanted to talk about the top 6 firearms that you could use for a grizzly bear charging. So that's a lot different than being approached by a grizzly bear or a brown bear. They're basically the same species. Brown bear is on the coast, grizzly is in the interior. But for this sake of this video, I'll just say grizzly bear. Now, there's a lot of things you can do to deter an attack. A buddy of mine actually works as a bear guard for biologists that are going out to lodges in Alaska. And believe it or not, 90% of the time he uses an air horn. He doesn't have to use a popper or bear spray or anything. He uses an air horn, very loud sound, usually deters, it annoys the grizzly bears and they go away. Sometimes they do get closer and you have to actually use some deadly force sometimes. So I would suggest having something like that, bear spray, and of course a firearm. You never want to be without a firearm in the woods. Now, thankfully I have not been charged, but I have had bears come at me directly with their ears down, looking kind of angry, just kind of stomping right at me. Usually I just fire a warning shot in the ground or in the air, and you know, I'm way out in the middle of nowhere, and in most cases they've taken off. So I want to start off with what I think is the worst. Now, this is very subjective. If you are a great shooter with your revolver, that needs to be number 1 for you. So this is just subjective, what my thoughts are. Let me know in the comments if you agree. So number 6, I'm going to say, is a big bore revolver. Now, I have here what I have touted, and even Chuck from Alaska Ballistics has touted as the greatest bear defense handgun you can buy for the Great North up here. This is the Ruger Toklat Super Red Hawk in 454 Casull. One of the reasons why we say that, it's got a 5-inch barrel, you're getting decent velocity, it's not overpowering. Like, I've shot some 460 Smith & Wesson revolvers that were just painful to shoot. The recoil on this is not bad. It's a little more than a 44 Magnum, and you're definitely getting more power than a 44 Magnum. So something like this, but whatever you have, a 500 Smith & Wesson, a 44 Magnum, anything like that, 460, those are great. So that's number 6. The problem with this is I won't always bring this because I'll be lucky if I can get 2 shots off on a charging grizzly. You know, you really want it in single action, and you may not have time to cock it each time, so your accuracy may suffer. So that's a consideration. That's why I lean towards number 5, a 10mm or a semi-auto pistol. So this is the FN 510 Tactical. I'm going to have a video up on tomorrow testing to see if the cases actually bulge, but this has great capacity, even comes with a 22 round magazine, and I can just get shots off better on target much faster than I can with the revolver. So a lot of times I will stick with this. Even better, I think, is something like this, a 460 Roland semi-auto pistol. It's almost 44 Magnum power, but a lot of people, it's kind of a wildcat round, so a lot of people don't have access to this, whereas the 10mm is a little more universal. So I would probably suggest that as number 5, a 10mm handgun, or if you have a Desert Eagle or whatever your semi-auto. Number 4, and this could easily be number 1, and sometimes this is all you have, is a hunting rifle. Now, a hunting rifle is going to have more foot-pounds of energy than a lot of these, and when you're out in the woods, if you get a hit on a grizzly, you're going to take them down with a hunting rifle. The problem is it's sometimes has a long barrel. Sometimes grizzly bears have been known to slap the rifle away from a hunter as he raises it, and depending on what your scope is, if it's a high magnification, at close range, you're going to have trouble sometimes getting that bear into sight. And another issue is some of these hunting rifles will hold like 3 rounds and that's it. So if you use those up, you're in trouble unless you can reload it quickly, which is tough to do in a situation when you're actually being charged. But still, if you get a hit, this is going to be one of the best things you can use because it will take down that grizzly, especially if you have a decent caliber. Number 3, and this may surprise some people, is I kind of split it between an AK-47 and an AR-10. Now, an AK-47 I chose because it's pretty heavy round for that type of rifle, and you know, it's almost 30-30 power, and they're just so reliable. I mean, none of the AKs I've had really jammed ever. You get them dirty and fill them with sand, and they're just going to run. So an AK-47 is really good. There was that guy actually on the Russian River back in 2014 or whatever, something like that. He killed sow brown bear with an AK-74, so that's the 5.45 by 39 round. He got in big trouble because it was, you know, just like Yogi Bear hanging around with all the fishermen. He saw it and freaked out and just blasted it. But he killed it. It was not charging, but I do believe an AK is. An AR-10 is even better because you could have a 308 round or something else, and that's going to do way more damage than the 7.62 by 39 round. And if you get, you know, good AR-10 that's tuned up, it's going to be reliable for you. I think that's a great option. A lot of people up here in Alaska actually have AR-10s and will hunt with them or use them, you know, on their four-wheeler for bear defense. So AR-10, great. And the number 2 pick would be a 45-70 lever action rifle. They're typically nice and short and handy. It's a devastating round for up close. You can use the iron sights, and lots of people have taken out bears with them. I've gone hunting with them successfully. It's just hard to beat a 45-70 lever action. You do need to practice with it, train with it, because if you're not used to that lever action, it may be a little clunky and you may not get shots off very fast. But typically, you can get shots off accurately with that, shoulder it. It's a great option. That's why it's number 2. And number 1, I am going to say absolutely 12 gauge shotgun with slugs. Now, this is a pistol grip, which is kind of nice because it's handy, but I prefer a, you know, butt stock on here, which I will be putting one on this soon. But this is a 12 gauge at the side saddle here. Use some heavy slugs. It's literally the best bear defense. Now, this is a pump. I typically go with a pump. For me, they've been a little more reliable. If you got a really nice Benelli M4 or something that you trust, then absolutely a semi-auto 12 gauge will work. But you want to use slugs, and there's really nothing better, in my mind, you can use against a charging grizzly bear than a 12 gauge shotgun with good slugs, some Renegade Black Magic, something like that. So that's my list. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. I'll keep putting out videos. I'll have a video on the FN 510 Tactical in the morning. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and share, and I appreciate y'all. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, look, get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you all die every time.